Hey, hello, welcome to the show. It's me, John Park. This is my workshop. Thank you for joining me today on John Park's workshop here at Adafruit Industries. Thanks for stopping into our chats. So we've got some people over in our YouTube, a lot of people over in our YouTube today. I want to say hi. Thank you for jumping in there. We got Robert Cochran, John McGinnis, Dave Odessa, Beata Graf Avdalhagen, Charles Burniford, hello, Quinman16, howdy, thanks for stopping by. If you're somewhere else and you're wondering where the chat is, because hey, it's empty in there, well, head on over to our Discord, because that's the chat that I'm looking at other than our YouTube. So if you're on Twitch or Facebook or somewhere and there's no one there, well, I invite you to join us by going to adafru.it/discord and look for the live broadcast chat channel. You'll see it somewhere here along the side. Let me scroll up towards the top. We got a lot of different channels on our server, but that's the place to check it out in show times during a show. That's a cool looking cube. Hey, I showed these on Tuesday, the NeoMatrix 8x8s. Thin Man mentioned they had made a cube with them. That is cool. Super cool. I'd love to know more about that. Really neat. Yeah, and hello to the people who've stopped by over here into our Discord. Wow, my scroll wheel on this mouse is wacky, so I'm going to be gentle with it. But hello, Thin Man, John Nodge. Oh, I'm going to just grab the scroll bar. The wheel is done on this thing. David Glaudet, hello. Squid.jpg. Empty? What's the question? What's happening? Is something empty, David? David? You tell me. Hey, Squid.jpg. Thanks for jumping on over. So let's get on with the show. What I've got for you today, I've got a coupon code so you can save some money in the Adafruit shop. I have a recap of the Tuesday show, talking about those NeoMatrices. I have a CircuitPython Parsec for you. I've got a little teardown, actually, of the thing I built for the Tuesday show to demo. I wanted to show that. And I've got some more progress on the video overlay project, which is now running on, I think I had it running before in the Metro, but now it's running on Fruit Jam. And it's a Rev, I think we're calling this Rev D. This is the latest one. I only had I don't know if it's here. I only had the Rev B before, as we were sort of testing stuff and putting out onesie twosies here. This one is the one we're going to be shipping, as far as I know, knock wood, barring any weirdness. And this, as you can see, has the cool little case top on it as well. So I'll be talking about this a little bit and show you the video overlay project that Tim, Foamy Guy, and I have been working on. The question I just saw over on YouTube, Fruit Jam seems to be out of stock all the time. Yeah, Robert, we had done, I think, just I don't know, 20 5 of them or something was that first batch. It was just a little bit because the tester had just started working, make sure that those were in good shape, and we'll be gearing up and getting more and more of them out there. So your best bet, you probably know this, but if you head over to Adafruit, you can just type in Fruit Jam in the search, or look at the new products section. You'll see here there's this Notify Me link. You can go ahead and click that and then enter your email address in, and it'll let you know when one comes in stock. I think you can also keep an eye on over on Discord in the new products. I think the new products channel, or feed rather, I believe this will show you when things happen. So when stuff comes into stock, you should see it appear here as well. But yeah, the best bet I think is the email on the Notify Me. Wow, yeah, I really need to get a new mouse. This one is, the scroll wheel is done for. Where's live broadcast chat? Are you there? There we go. Okay, so what else? The coupon code. So I mentioned you can go and check out the store there, just at adafruit.com. But what I didn't mention yet, I try to mention it every week, is that you can save some money with a coupon code. And this week, the coupon code is Mother of Pearl. Mother-of-Pearl. And that will save you 10% off in the store. So head on over to Adafruit, and it will work on pretty much anything you can buy that we can put in a box and ship to you. So not good on software, not good on gift certificates, not good on subscriptions, but for things, physical stuff, use that coupon code. Head over to Adafruit, and I'll shift this over a little bit. If you go to products up at the top, you can click on a whole bunch of categories. You can click on new products, view all. You can just take a look at the first 4 that show up here. We have a bunch of neat e-ink displays that came in. We have this cool new NeoPot clear shaft potentiometer breakout. Featured products, you can check some things out in there. A lot of those are out of stock, honestly. Another thing I like to do, I've maybe shown this trick before, is if you just go to the search Adafruit in the search, then you can go and click on most recent and take the out of stock off of there. And this will show you the latest stuff and stuff that you can actually get right now. So sometimes if I'm looking for ideas for a new project or product to pick, I'll search this way. So you could probably bookmark the little code in the URL there. I could bookmark that and make it easier. But that's not too many steps to get to check out what's new and what's in stock that's Adafruit stuff. I'm not sure of a term that will work for third-party stuff that doesn't have the word Adafruit in the title. So for that, more likely your best bet is just to click on View All and pay attention to the stock amounts that are there. I mentioned stock. This will tie into the video overlay thing that I'm going to show in a little bit. So keep that in mind. Yeah, Robert Cochran, same thing with the mag tags. We had a small number of those, I think, maybe 50 or 100. They sold through pretty quick, but there will be more, Lady Ada promises. So anyway, that is your coupon code this week, Mother of Pearl. That will save you a little bit of money, a little 10% off in the store. Good from now until midnight tonight, East Coast time, and then it turns into a pumpkin. All right, next up, a little recap of my product pick show on Tuesday. So as I've mentioned, this was the product pick this week. It was the straight up RGB, old school, 64 pixel 8x8 NeoPixel Matrix, NeoMatrix. Here's me not flubbing my lines. Check it out. It is the NeoMatrix 8x8 RGB NeoPixel LED board. It has 64 RGB LEDs, individually addressable NeoPixels. You can use it in Arduino, CircuitPython, MicroPython, and WLED. I'll show you a WLED demo in a moment, which is a tiling I did of 4 of them, attached running wires among them. I also soldered up their little copper edge connectors there for mechanical stability. And then I'm using one of our Sparkle Motion boards on here, the one with the external antenna, so I can control this from far away. 32 by 32 displays because it's a nice pixel art size. And using this design that the Ruiz brothers did, and we have, as you can see here, a little grid to help separate those, to give them that separated look. The 8x8 NeoMatrix. No sound, eh? Sorry about that. Thank you. Thanks for the alerts. Here we go. I'm back. Yes, so you saw, but didn't hear me say, I was just curious about more of the details here from Thin Man on this cool use of some of those 8x8 NeoMatrices. Magnets, right angle soldering, glue, Play-Doh, what? How does it work? And the other thing I was saying, yeah, so there was a question about CircuitPython Day. I'm actually going to be out of town, unfortunately, on CircuitPython Day, but I am planning to do a pre-recorded segment doing something with CircuitPython, and I don't know what that is yet. So stay tuned. See if something happens. All right. So let's see. Next up, I've got a little CircuitPython Parsec for you. Let's check it out. CircuitPython Parsec. All right, I left my audio on that time. For the CircuitPython Parsec today, I wanted to show you how you can use a Wii Classic controller inside of CircuitPython as an input. So what you can see here, let me go to a full view of my camera. Oh, well, let me fix the, that's a different thing. Let me replace this layer with this. There we go. So what I've got right here, this is a feather. It's actually a prop maker feather, RP2040. Plugged in over the I2C, I have a little WeChuck breakout board. So this is, I2C is what Nintendo chose to use for all of these accessories that plug into a Wiimote. So there's your old Wii remote. In the bottom there is this sort of proprietary connector. Here's a classic controller. You can see in my downshooter is another type of classic controller that went with their little NES Classic. So they have quite a few of these different controllers out there. I think there are 5 different ones from Nintendo besides third parties that have that little connector, and they are scanning a whole bunch of buttons, and in some cases potentiometers if they have analog feedback on them, pressure feedback on them. And they are sending all that over I2C. We have a few different drivers or libraries inside of CircuitPython. This is one from the community called WeChuck. And what I'm able to do with this is press buttons on my Wii controller and read them all over this little breakout, which is then sending over I2C. You can see here, I don't have to cut off any connectors or anything like that. That just plugs right into this. I'm going to reset the controller here. It doesn't like to be hot swapped. And now when I press buttons, those are being registered inside of CircuitPython, which you could use for anything. Here I'm just using it to light up some NeoPixels, but you can use that for, in the example of the prop maker feather here, driving some servos, triggering sounds, you name it. So how does this work? Let's take a look in CircuitPython. First thing we're going to do is import this WeChuck.classic controller. So from WeChuck.classic controller, import classic controller. There are others you could get, the nunchuck, the DJ turntables, the guitar. There's a number of different things that this library will help you with. So then I set up this controller as classic controller over board stemma I2C. And then in the, let me drag down here. The rest of this is just setting up NeoPixels. In the main loop with this WeChuck library, all I have to do is ask for controller.values. So if I ask for controller.values, I'll see something sort of like this right here that you can see in my REPL. In this case, I'm just asking for the buttons part of what that returns. If I press the select button, you'll see the D-pad, this little directional pad part of that. And if I press any of the others, I'm just naming them and lighting up some NeoPixels. If the buttons A, B, D-pad, up, down, left, right, start, select are true, return a positive value or true value, then I can do something. In this case, I'm printing out their name, I'm lighting up the NeoPixels. But if you watch here, when I press the start button on its own, it says, for example, all the buttons it can check, A is false, B is false, and so on. If I press A and that at the same time, you'll see A is true. If I press A and B at the same time, A and B are true. So it'll grab them all, it pulls all of those, and we get just one message. So it's very fast since I2C isn't the fastest. All of the controller inputs are just sent in one message, and then those are decoded by the library. So that is how you can use a Nintendo or third-party NES, SNES, and other Wii Classic controller on CircuitPython. This is how you can use a Wii Classic controller, NES controller, SNES controller inside of CircuitPython on your Feather or other microcontroller. And that is your CircuitPython Parsec.
CircuitPython Parsec.
All right, yeah, question I think in the, or just a comment in the chat. I'm not sure if someone asked about this over on YouTube. The editor is Zed. Yeah, I'm back to using Zed. The problems I was having I think it was last week on this show, were absolutely unrelated to Zed. I thought it wasn't updating. I think I had a second instance of it open somewhere, and that's what was being broadcast. So I didn't see any changes. So yes, this is Zed again. I can show it. There's Zed. I like Zed. Zed, if you don't know, is what Atom evolved into or was restarted as at some point. And Atom is ATOM is a text editor I used to use. The other question is, do you have a list of parts needed plus a repo for the Parsec? So I don't do a list of parts, but I do, unless it's so specific that I'll put it up in the header of the code. But I do, if you look for a blog post that shows up on Fridays, usually Friday afternoon, and it's also in the Python on Hardware newsletter that Ann Barella puts together. I do a excerpt 1-minute video of that, or an excerpt, not 1 minute, but just an excerpt of my show, which is just the CircuitPython Parsec. And I have a repo with the code, so you can find that week's code. In this case, though, I'll show you what I'm using here. First of all, I've got a prop maker Feather. This is the one I'm using right here. Kind of a neat Feather. It's not too much more than the regular Feather RP2040, but it's got a whole bunch of extra features. There's an audio amplifier on there. I really like having this NeoPixel output, and I think that's a button input as well, right on the end. So you can just screw in, without having to solder to it, you can do some solderless projects pretty easily. It's got plug and play with I2C. For the WeChuck adapter or breakout, that's this part right here. They're $3, they're pretty cheap. And that, you can see here, has Stemma QT ports to plug into your project. You could also solder it down if you needed to for some reason. And that little notch there is designed to fit, it's basically like the inside of that thing on your Wii controller. This is the classic right here. This is a neat one to use with that library. I didn't want to go into all of its unique functions. It just has a lot more of them because it has analog buttons here, more buttons here, analog joysticks, bunch of extra buttons. So anyway, all of those types of connectors there click into that little PCB. That is it as far as those parts. And then for the controller, you can look up like Wii Classic controller. So there's the Nintendo Wii Classic, and there's a Wii Classic Pro. Those were for the Wii, and then there's also these SNES for their little mini SNES, and the NES for their mini NES. So there's a whole slew of them there. If you go to the Wikipedia, you'll probably find links to a whole bunch of them. So, and they don't have to be expensive. You can find some fairly cheap ones. There are also third-party ones. I have the little sort of official Nintendo emulator consoles, the little NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and those came with some controllers. I think one of these NES guys with the fantastically short cable on it. That's as far as they wanted you to get away from your TV with, with this one. The SNES Classic one has a longer cable. And that is it, yeah. So those are the parts. Those are the types of parts for that project there. Okie doke. And actually, I'll mention this type of little, if you look on the back side, there are 3 connections on the bottom side and 2 on the top side. So those 5 pins, and I think you can get away with 4, which is what we're doing over Stemma QT. The 5th, I think, is probably an interrupt. But this type of little design of a PCB of just the right thickness with pads to slot into there. I first saw one that Todd Kurt, our good friend Todd Kurt, who's I think in the chat today maybe, had created. I used it on the roller coaster G-force meter that I built for the Make TV show that I hosted 10 years ago or however long ago that was. And that used a WeChuck, which has an accelerometer built into it. Same connector, and we were using an Arduino in that case to be able to measure a G-force of a roller coaster. Sorry, I just got distracted because someone wrote audio, but that might be a little while ago. Yeah, thankfully. Okay. Yeah, and there Todd put in the chat a little link to the WeChuck adapter, nunchuck adapter that he had made. Oh, it's only in 2008. Yeah, so this is the first one that I ever dealt with. Same thing there, you can see. I guess the middle connector there isn't used for anything, if that's what NC is, I'm guessing. But yeah, it's I2C, and there were some Arduino libraries, at least at the time. So that's the gizmo right there. If you go on YouTube and look for the Make Television show, look for an episode where I'm in the Mall of America on a roller coaster measuring the G-forces. I will look much, much younger back then. And I'm using this. I have the full gizmo here somewhere, I think. Maybe I'll try to dig that up. All right. So enough of that. Let's move on to... I want to look at this. Let's look at this little teardown here. So I showed the little. Put a little window up here. I showed the little 8x8 matrix. That was the product pick of the week. This you can see over here is clearly a lot bigger than that. This is actually 32 by 32. And I did that to show the tiling that you can do. It just looks really cool. This is the kind of tiling you can do with the NeoMatrix. Pretty much as many as you want, so long as you have power and memory for the NeoPixels. I don't know what the upper limit is. I'm running a WLED on the Sparkle Motion on this one. I'll show you that in a second. But first, I'll just show you. Here's WLED running on here. I can just tell the whole thing, hey, let's just blink a rainbow, or let's make some blobs. So really fun to use with something like WLED, where you have a nice Wi-Fi connection. In this case, I've got the external antenna right here. So this is actually got some nice range on it. And we can go and just pick some fun pre-made animations to run on here. There's also all of the, let me find one that uses the microphone on there. If we go to frequency-based ones, you'll see stuff like this little graphic equalizer, bump, bump, boop, 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 beep, beep, bop, 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 bop. So that's a little graphic frequency-based FFT graphic equalizer. So looks really nice on 32 by 32 pixels, which is cool. So let's take a look at how this was made. I scaled up a project that the Ruiz brothers had done on a single one of these. They also have one that's built for a slightly differently shaped, flexible 32 by 32 matrix that we have in the store. But this one, or sorry, 16 by 16. I keep saying 32. Sorry, 16 by 16, not 32. Yeah, 8 by 8, 16 by 16. So 16 by 16, they had one that's 8 by 8, and so I mostly scaled up. I took their models, did some scaling. They had step files available. I did some scaling up on those and some small adjustments. But why this looks so good really is down to this, I think, is this, let me cut that open. I just put some Kapton tape on here because I didn't include the little snap fit notches. There is a nice grid on here to separate out the light path for the pixels. This Kapton is staying on here. There we go. Jeez. How much tape did I use? Hold on. You done? There. Okay. So this is just a bezel that covers the thing. Here I've got a piece of LED acrylic. By the way, I may have mentioned my laser cutter is down right now. The tube is kaput, which happens. And you can still cut this kind of stuff. I just used a straight edge rule and box cutter to score this, snap it, score this, snap it. So you can, I'm not going to make complicated stuff, but you can make straight cuts pretty easily in this type of acrylic without fancy tools. Looks cool flipped around too, a little less diffused. And right there, that's the key, is this little grid. So you can see it changes the viewing angle. It's a really tight viewing angle. But when you diffuse this a little bit, having those distinct squares is a really kind of nice, unique look. If I pull off that grid piece, which I've also taped on there a bit, so there's the little grid. Now we're either, if we're farther away from it, we get some blurring, which can be great depending on the look you're going for. Or if you set it right on there, you get more dots, which is not bad either. So you can't make these look bad. They just look cool. So the bare dots are a little hard to look at, and the fact that the die or the plastic part that the NeoPixel is encased in is white means that they are not as distinct as when you put a little bit of a dark diffuser on them. I think that's one of the best ways to see these. So I'll turn this off. What I'm using is a little 3 amp 5 watt USB-C power plug that has an inline switch. And let me zoom in just a little bit here. I'm also going to turn on my chat just so I can keep an eye on things in case anyone has questions or if my audio goes out or anything like that. I just hastily, since I didn't have a lot of time to do the redesign, I just hastily zip tied this nice sparkle motion case to the back here and zip tied this external antenna here, so nothing fancy. I did put a JST connector on the input NeoMatrix panel. Cut this one too. So there's the little panel with the sparkle motion on there. This could be powered with DC power as well. It has a microphone built in, which is how we're doing the audio reactive stuff. It does also have infrared, so if you want to use an infrared remote, but you'd have to just make sure that there's enough of a reflection or a path, light path to see that. And you can see on this sparkle motion there are 3 different outputs. Not that we need them in this kind of project, but there are 3 different pins that you can do data out and power ground. So there's 9 screws there you can use. I think that's right. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, pins 19, 22, and 21. It's listed on the case there. And then here is how I put these together. So I just ran some pretty thin wires to daisy chain the power, ground, and data. So data goes in, out, in, out, in, out. So bump, 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 bump is how I have these laid out. And you can adjust that if you're doing this in Arduino or CircuitPython or WLED. You can figure out things like what's pixel 0, and then what's the last pixel? Is it here? Is it here? Are we doing this serpentine type of shape, or are we paging back to the left, which is what I'm doing? And then these also have a whole bunch of these little copper pads on here that are not connected to anything, and they're just used to solder some mechanical connection. So I just used some fairly thick header pins on here. I don't know how much closer I can get. That's about as close as I can get with that. So these right here are just soldered. I just tinned the pads and then put this one floated diagonal as I was heating it up, but I left it alone. But I've got a few of them. You could do every possible one, but this was enough for this to not flop around as I put it in the case, but more would be better. So those don't connect anything electrically. They're just used for mechanical strength. But that gives you this nice panel. And as you saw, I think it was Thin Man showed in the chat, you can do they don't have to be in a single plane. This can be a 3-dimensional thing, so you could build a little arc of them or a little visor type of shape of them, chunky, kind of angled, not curved, but at little angles. All those sorts of things are possible. Make 3D stuff like cubes out of them. There's a lot you can do with these. So that's how that went together. Let me know if you have any other questions. Yeah, I agree. John Nudge says these do look cool even without the grid on there. But I'll show you. I can put this back together, give it some juice, and it'll go to the default preset that I selected, which is a lovely little blobby psychedelic kind of pattern on there. That's at fairly low brightness too, just to make it something we can look at. This is it cranked. So the camera doesn't know what to do with that, so I'll drop that way back down. I happen to really like this, where'd it go? Circus or clown? There was a color combo that I really liked. Where'd it go? Circus? I don't know where it went. I think that's part of the word. There it is, retro clown. I don't know what makes that a retro clown, but I like that color scheme. So those are all WLED presets. I'm not doing anything fancy there. All right, so that is how that went together, but I figured beyond just doing a little talk about it on on Tuesday I'd show that in action. Let's pop over here. It looks like we got some info from Thin Man. Hey, really cool. Can I make that big? No. No. Yes. Yes, I can. Wow. I don't think that's going to video isn't going to animate very well on the broadcast, but it's really cool. Thanks for putting that together. Show us. Thin Man asks, what is the dimension of each of the grids? I do not know, actually. I don't have calipers here to get a precise measure of them. They are, I think 2.8 inches is the matrix, so I'm not sure exactly what the little grid hole size is there. But if you want to check it out, just head on over to, this is what I modified, was this one right here. So if you just search Adafruit Learn for NeoMatrix, you'll see this one. This is the square NeoPixel display with black LED acrylic. So that was my starting point there. If you go to the 3D printing section, you can download the CAD files for these. And I think if you download either of these two links, you'll get step files, which are nice to work with if you want to modify them. So that's what I brought those into Rhino, chopped them up, and extended them a bit. Ooh, Dan the Geek says that these 8x8 panels will work in a mason jar, a wide mouth mason jar. That's really cool. All right. Robert Cochran says that's 256 pixels. 1.5 amps of power, question mark? Yeah, I think the rough calculus is usually if you went full white with those NeoPixels, you'll draw about 60 milliamps. So if that maths out, then yes. So when I cranked it all the way up, it still wasn't drawing that full amount because I don't have all the pixels lit all the time, or at least not all RG and B lit all the time. You do need to add another 20 milliamps to that if you use these RGBW panels, by the way. If you ever go full all colors and the white or warm white or cool white diode on these, or not diode, yeah, diode on those, you'll be drawing 80 milliamps per, roughly. Thin Man says, you've given me so many ideas with these panels. Never thought of the Sparkle motion board to drive a cube. Ooh, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Sparkle Motion has a lot of nice provisions for mapping of 2D stuff. And since you can make sort of logical groupings of them, even if you have a cube of them on a single data line, you can say 0 to 256 or 0 to 64 is going to be considered one virtual strand, and then 64 to the next will be another. You can make them behave in interesting ways that way. Okay, let's move on then. What have I got next? I just wanted to do a quick bit about, let me go back to Learn here, about the new guide that I just put out, and we've been looking at this stuff last couple weeks, which is with ESP-NOW. In fact, if you just go to Adafruit main page, in the Learn, we might have them down here too, but if you go to Learn, we have new guides listed up at the top here. So there's a new Fruit Jam Macintosh computer emulator that Liz just put out. I'm looking forward to looking at that. There's a quad color e-ink guide. There's that CC resistor fixer case. I will be printing those. And then there's this ESP-NOW in CircuitPython guide that I put out. So this was what we're looking at the last couple weeks. And it's also a fundamental sort of precursor to the juggling balls project that I'm doing, where I'm going to send ESP-NOW messages to a fourth, if I'm juggling 3 balls, a fourth, or if I'm juggling 4 balls, a fifth, but there will be a base station feather, essentially, maybe even with an antenna, that is receiving all of the messages of the different juggling balls, and the fundamental thing here is just, hey, how do we send messages among these, either peer-to-peer or one-to-many, many-to-many, many-to-one. All of those are possible. This will help you get started with that. So you can see here I've got a little GIF demo. There's also a little video demo in here you can look at. So here's a setup and some sample code for getting started with ESP-NOW. Again, thanks to Todd Kurt for posting a little just simple example of a sender and receiver. So I've got some versions of that type of code here and some MAC address query code, which I also covered, I think, last week in CircuitPython Parsec, so it's all related. And here is sending some sensor data. We have I don't have it here right now, but we have one Feather ESP32S2 that has a built-in BME 280, which is a temperature, pressure, humidity sensor. And I think some of our other Feather boards don't have the sensor soldered on, but they do have the spot for it and the pads, so you can very carefully or with a heat gun solder down that BME 280 onto there if you want. And this is a demo of using ESP-NOW as more of a sensor collection network, which is great. A really nice way to use it because you can have one board send messages every once in a while or receive a query from another board, and it'll just say, hey, yeah, here's what my sensors are doing. So really liking ESP-NOW. It can be very low power, and it's very fast, and it's very simple to set up, and it doesn't require a base station or a lot of the Wi-Fi overhead. And then this one here, it's an ESP-NOW party. That's the demo I've been showing, where I've got each of them acting as a transceiver. So they can both send and receive, and they're using their little TFTs in this case. So that's the new guide. Go check that out. If you wonder which parts to get for it, some of it should be clear just from the pictures, but you can see on the left here we've got featured products. You can click View All and get a nice list of those. You can send among any of these, so it can be Cutie Pies to Feathers to Metros and back again. All of those will talk to each other happily using this. And it doesn't have to be Adafruit boards if you've got other stuff, M5 stack things or JAW boards, anything that's got an ESP32, ESP32S2, ESP32S3. Those should all work. I can't remember which of the C series ones do, if any, but check the library to find out more, or ESP-NOW's own links, which I have up here in the front. All right, so that's that. And then last thing is I wanted to go into the project. So Fruit Jam. Fruit Jam's super cool. Fruit Jam has DVI video over an HDMI shaped port on it. I've got a monitor back here. Let's just show it on that. So what's going on in this case is, we'll see if it works, because I don't know if I have. Yeah, it should grab the Wi-Fi from inside. So I'm plugging in HDMI that's going to a long cable extended to that monitor there. And then I'll give it power. And let me set this on the down shooter so you can see it. Let me just move some things out of the way. And let's do just do that. Okay, so there's the Fruit Jam. And I'm going to give it power back here. Turn it on. It's just going to wiggle a little bit. Turn this monitor on here. And what we'll see is a blue screen. And sorry for the glare. I'll turn one of my lights here off for a second. But we've got this sort of old school cable TV, call 1-800 Fruit Jam right now kind of thing, that is showing me a product name, Adafruit product name. It's showing me a price, and it's showing me how many are in stock right here. Bottom of the screen still has a glare on it, but guess what? And I got to thank Tim C, Foamy Guy, because he wrote this code. If I press the button 1 right here on the Fruit Jam, click, it's going to take the drop shadow, or the outline, stroke outline off the text. If I hit it another time, it's going to move that up to the top, and if I hit it one more time, it's going to add that stroke back in. So I'm going to leave it up there. I think that looks nice. But why the blue screen? Well, that's because I want to use this as an overlay, a little product info box, basically, that I can plug into my video capture setup that I have going for the broadcast here, and then just knock out the blue using a chroma key filter, which is straightforward, easy, fast, in real time, makes it very easy to mix video together without any complicated video mixing. So to show that, let's do some hackery here. You won't see this. I'm gonna take this. I just have a very short input cable that the down shooter is on. I'm gonna move this over there to that HDMI cable. I'm going to unplug my down shooter, so you're gonna see it go to test bar, and then I'm going to plug that into the Fruit Jam. So now Fruit Jam shows up as my down shooter, so we can go ahead and make that big. All right, now it's covered me entirely, but now you're seeing this is the direct feed off of the Fruit Jam. It's actually coming in as 640/480, and then I'm just kind of scaling it up to the size of the broadcast, which is like 780 by 1020 or 1280 by 720 or something. But you can't see me or whatever until we go ahead and knock this out with a chroma key. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to say use a chroma key. Can pick a color. It just picked one that worked well. I think I must have done this earlier. And there is my my overlay. So you can see here what I was talking about with, push that right there. You can see what I was talking about there with the button 1. So if I hit button 1, we'll switch down to the lower third, get rid of the stroke, up to the top, throw that stroke back on there. Love that. Couple of things. First of all, I'm now compositing a 640/480 video with this widescreen 16:9 ratio. So there's no way that the Fruit Jam can give me any blue pixels off to the sides, because the Fruit Jam doesn't have any pixels off to the sides. But that's okay, because I can just matte that out. So I'm just going to crop this video layer right here. I'll just go and then to the other side. There might be a little thin line there. I'll leave that. And I can move that around anywhere I want, so I can maybe just shift it slightly leftward, and it'll live there always. Yeah, that little line's going to bug me. Let me go a little further to the right. Crop. So now when I hit my little button, you can see it dance around to some different positions on the screen. Way cool. Second question is, how's this info showing up here? It's not static info, which is super cool. It's actually going up to the product API. So if I bring in, we're going to lose that guy for a second, but if we bring in adafruit.com/product API, is that it? No. Let me look at the code. I'm just making stuff up. Let's go look at the code that's running on here. Will you see? Yeah, you'll see some stuff. So let me go to Z. So this is all running in CircuitPython. Open the code. Oops, not that code. How about this code? There we go. So adafruit.com/API/products, and then the product number. So if you go and look at that, let's go look at that. I actually did not know we had this, but this is apparently something our resellers use, and of course any of you can use if you want to make your own little info displays, figure out stock count, price, weight. Let me increase the size of this so I can see it better. Pretty print, how about that? Is that better? Yes, definitely better. So product ID shows up, URL to an image. So if you ever wanted to build a thing that popped up an image, and we could do that with this. I think we're not going to, because we're trying to keep it lean and mean and not deal with shooting images up. I already have that stuff in my broadcasts. We've got the product name and ID number, category it lives inside of, price, shipping weight, URL to the product itself. There's the stock right there. I have no idea what that one is. Yeah, some of these mystery to me. And we are adding a sale price one that I don't think it's the same as this discount price thing here, but we're adding a sale price as well. So during my product pick of the week show, we'll be able to see the stock and we'll be able to see the sale price or the discounted price for the show. And I think we can update every 12 seconds without running afoul of the law. I might be able to get a dispensation to do it even faster than that, but we thought it'd be fun to have during the live stream for product pick, have a, you know, QVC style, stress you out so you buy right now kind of thing, right? That's a good idea. And this is how it's working. So kudos to Tim for putting this together. It's really really super cool. Where's my, let's put this one back up here. Yeah, so I can leave that on top of other stuff. As you can see, it'll just live in my layers here. I can't show you without making a black hole kind of what I'm doing in here, but I've tested this in OBS. It works great in OBS as well. You'll literally have two layers if you just have a webcam and then the capture card. So you need some sort of a capture device. I'm using a fancy, nice one, but I think I think Tim has tested it maybe with one of the low-cost ones we have in the shop. So if you go, let's go back to the shop here for a second. If you look at HDMI capture, we have these little, they go to USB. So HDMI comes in, USB goes out, and you could certainly, with this sort of low fidelity, low res terminal font, it'll, I think, just look fine. So that's what you'll get, and then you'll just want to knock it out with a chroma key, a blue screen chroma key. Let's see, what else? Tithe says there's a single page for all products too. Preferably use that instead of lots of single product requests. Okay. Tim, if you're listening, I don't know if you're here, but I'll mention that to you as well. Other questions? Let me bring up the Discord here. I'm going to move this up to the top so it's always there. In case that changes during the show, if you see the stock change, I think this is updating every 12 seconds right now. I can't remember if that was, I know it's a change Tim was making, and I can't remember if I've added that there or not. I suppose I could pick a different product, though. Let's try that. That'll be fun. What's a product that's, how about the NeoMatrix? Let's do that one. NeoMatrix is 1487. It is in stock. Let's see how many. Will it just say in stock, or will it give us a number? What did I say? 1487. Boop, boop, boop. Let me get that out of the way. Bring this back. 1487. You see, that's my Fruit Jam rebooting. It is connecting to my network. It's grabbing info. Hey, cool. I can use the button to move that. Oh, it's reloading. This is a USB thing, I think. It just has to freak out first one time. Retrieving data. Created the text area, outlined object. And let's do it that way. All right, stock is in stock. Yeah, so I think when we have more than 100 in stock, it just says in stock. So I'll leave that. I'll leave that alone. What was the other question? Let me go back to Discord here. Oh, can you make a device with one of those siren lights to go off whenever fruit jams are in stock? Yeah, for sure. I did that back with the, what was it? The Raspberry Pi at the beginning of the pandemic. There was the Raspberry Pi tracker project. That was reading off of a dedicated website for Pi tracking. But yeah, if you want to just check stock on this, that would work great. Please don't all break our API, but I guess we'll probably stress test it. Tyeth sends a link here, adafruit.com/products_API. I think that's what I meant to type earlier. And that'll give you info about it. So adafruit.com/products_API. Looks like that. How to get started. Release our JSON product API. Category listing fields, product listing field, etc., etc. Great. All right. So have at it. Yeah, David mentions limit your rate of usage to 5 requests per minute or less, so 12-second pause or more, please. Is there an API for the code? I don't think so. That is a different system than this, so I don't think we have a the place that it's created and lives is not related to this, so I don't think we have a product discount code API. Cool. But yes, these will be coming. We'll be getting more of these in stock. So sorry to tease with a fruit jam project, but super cool. Thanks to Tim for putting this together. It's going to be really useful, and I think a neat demo of the sort of things that you can do when you've got a little programmable sort of all-in-one gizmo. I can't show you right now because it's plugged in. That does HDMI out, has inputs, has NeoPixels on it. Another thing about this is it's got, I did my own simple version of this just text overlay, and I used a game controller, USB one, but I used a game controller just to like move the text around and change colors and stuff like that. So the fact that you can plug in a controller or a keyboard and mouse means you could, if you wanted to have an input field where you type in which product you're looking for and hit enter, now you're in little baby computer territory, which is real snazzy. Kind of that video toaster, pre-video toaster sort of feel, the fact that you've got a little character generator, Chiron kind of thing that you can type stuff into. No effects other than stroke and position right now. And Tim has added one other button press will actually just change the position to off screen, so it's just an easy way to hide it all from a single button. I'll unplug it now just so I can wave this thing around. Oh, you can see it's kind of knocking out, my chroma key is knocking out a little bit of the magenta there. But that right there, that little button 1, click, click, that's what I'm doing to move that around and add the stroke effect. We'll plug this down shooter back in. And there it is. It's back. Okay, what else? Anything else? Let's check. Oh, and Robert Cochran mentions, check out Fruit Jam OS that Foamy Guy has been working on. It's I haven't checked it out in a while, and but it is super cool. It gives you an operating system on the Fruit Jam that lets you then run different code, different applications. Larzio Paint music, for example, is an application in Fruit Jam OS that you can go pick and play with. So once I get a little more familiar with that, I'll show that off. If you check out, I don't think Foamy Guy is doing a deep dive tomorrow, but if you check out past deep dives, he's been going into some Fruit Jam OS stuff in the past, so go check those out. Yeah, squid.jpg. I hope to see a lot of little neat Fruit Jam games. Seems perfectly suited for it, for sure. So please, if you're at all interested in writing games, porting games, even if you want to write a, I don't know, NES game and use an emulator to show it, but there's going to be a lot of neat game stuff on here, I think, I hope. I will show next week. I've got updates on, speaking of emulators, NES emulator from Frank Hodeness. The Pico NES emulator that we've shown before running on other hardware is now running beautifully on Fruit Jam. So I think that's going to be a really neat way to do plug and play NES emulation, games on SD card, plug in a real controller, kind of thing that you could give as a gift to someone if you wanted them to have a little fun game experience, and it plays over HDMI, so they don't have to go be a CRT weirdo like me. That's a plus. All right, let's wrap this up. Dave Odessa, you're too kind. How do you manage to come up with new ideas for projects every week? I just have big lists, and when things are either there's stuff that I know there's new products coming out and I want to use them for something, or it's just looking around the world around me and having other hobbies and going to see movies and plays and things, suggestions from people, all kinds of stuff. I don't know. But if you got suggestions, give them to me, because that's not always easy to come up with the next thing. So I appreciate your thoughts too. Let's get out of here. Before I go, I will mention again, Mother of Pearl is your coupon code for today. So if you want to go to the shop, go get some stuff. Save 10%, then that's it. Mother of Pearl, mother-of-pearl will save you 10% off on stuff that you can buy that we can put in a box or an envelope and ship to you. No good on virtual things, but real stuff. Yes, atoms. That's going to do it for today. Thanks everyone so much for stopping by and hanging out. And come on by for all of our shows next week. We might have some over the weekend. Like I said, I don't think there's a deep dive tomorrow. We might have some videos out over the weekend. I'll be back with a product pick of the week on Tuesday. Wednesday we'll have 3 Hangouts and Show and Tell, Ask an Engineer. I'll be back again with this show on Thursday. So please enjoy. Thank you everyone so much. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Parr. This has been...
Thank you.